Hi, my name is Jim Battle, and this is our third program warning you about the program called Alcoholics Anonymous. And again, keep in mind, I'm just using Alcoholics Anonymous as the model for the rest of the programs. It is the model for the other 12-step programs such as Narcotics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, all these other 12-step programs. This is the first. This is the granddaddy of them all, as they say. This is the one where it all started 75 plus years ago with Alcoholics Anonymous. And so what you're learning about AA, basically the dangers of it, is true also of these other programs. So please, apply it. If you're going to NA or CA or any of these other 12-step programs, please be aware that they're just as dangerous. They're doing the same things and teaching basically the same thing. The same problems there. I'm actually basing this off of an article by a man who calls himself Orange. He has the Orange Papers. It's an online book that you can read, and I recommend that you go to that website and read some of his articles. He's very well informed, about AA and what's going on. And one article was titled, "What's Bad About AA?" And I'm using that as an outline for my first 4 programs. And also, I want to recommend the forum. The Christians, if you've been deceived by AA and got out of there or harmed by it, or your family was harmed by it, go to that forum. Give me a call or email me, and I'll tell you a little bit about it and why I think you should, join this forum and be of a help to some other people with your experience of what happened to you, as a Christian or after you became a Christian and was in the program, So get in touch with me on that. But anyway, I'm using his article as an outline. And this is the third program. I've got one more after this. And I hope I can get through all of this to explain to you, the things that, I want to at least up to this point. But we've been talking about showing what's dangerous about AA. It's teachings that are false, proven to be false. Not just my opinion that it's false, proven by research and even common sense. I showed you how you can just see it with a common sense test to see that, hey, that's not a good idea and it's not true. But they're teaching this. They're brainwashing people. They're with these ideas and convincing them that it's true and to the detriment of many people and their families. And this thing is causing a mess, folks, that people don't even know about. Everybody, oh, how wonderful. They're saving lives. Alcoholics Anonymous, saving lives. Narcotics Anonymous, saving lives. These treatment centers are saving lives. Propaganda, folks, they have deceived us. And I say us because I was fooled. I didn't know any better. I wanted the truth, though. I was a guy, and still am. Oh, man, I want to know the truth. Don't deceive me. Even if I don't like what the truth is, I still want to know it. It's kind of like, hey, doctor, if I got a cancer, don't tell me I just got a headache or something. Tell me what I got so you can deal with it. And look, if you don't really know what the problem really is, it's not going to be dealt with appropriately. So since this is not really a disease, it's being dealt with inappropriately. People are being harmed by this false diagnosis of the problem and given a false cure. 12 steps, support group meetings. And I'm not saying people don't need support. We all need support. We're humans. We need the support of one another, but you need to be careful. What kind of support are you getting? Think about where you're at and what you're doing. That's what I'm here to help people think. To help people think about some things that they never thought about, or even, make them aware of some things they just didn't know. Sometimes it's things that, wow, I saw that, I just never thought about it. Sometimes you just had no idea that, wow, I didn't know they were teaching that. I didn't know that. Yes, and you're going to learn more on this program. But we left off talking about the death rate. I already showed that the statistics show that this thing doesn't really work. These programs aren't doing anything. They're fooling people into that they're doing something. And so they stay in them forever and could leave that thing and still be fine. But they're caught up in it and telling other people, hey, you need to come to a meeting. And a lot of these people are coming in and they're dying and getting hurt and harmed. Folks, let's find out what's happening here. But the death rate is where I left off, talking about the death rate. Now, this is interesting. Orange on his website points out, and I've looked into this. So, like I said, he shows you where his information comes from, so you don't just have to take his word for it. But he points out that the death rate is high. Now, all these programs have a death rate. There are people who die while they're, involved. It's not necessarily that the program's killing them, like it is in AA. AA is partially responsible for the deaths, but people die when they're in a program sometimes. They just don't quit. They just don't want to quit. Really bad enough, and they just go on their own way. But AA, you can really want to quit bad, and they just add to your desire to drink. Yeah, that's wrong. But anyway, a man named George Valent is how it's pronounced. Dr. George Valent. He's also a professor. I don't know what he's professing or what school. It's somewhere in New York, I believe. He's a professor somewhere there. But anyway, this man, George Valent, liked Alcoholics Anonymous so much that he became a board member. Okay, that's important for you to know so that you don't think, oh, I don't believe him. He's just trying to make AA look bad. No, Dr. Valent likes AA and he wanted it to look good. Okay, so he did 8 years worth of these clinical studies, controlled studies. I mean, good, again, back to good science. These weren't these little flaky, tricky little studies published in journals. If a journal will publish it, a good reputable journal, it was done correctly, the study. So you can trust that. Okay. He was trying to make AA look, he wanted to show that it was effective and it's a good program because he loved it so much. This is a board member. So he did 8 years worth of studies. and guess what? He was surprised. He was shocked by the results. He really was. The word that was used in his book that I read his book, well, some of it. The word that he used was appalled. He was appalled. I mean, he couldn't believe it. Like he thought it was going to turn out and show how wonderful AA was. And it didn't. These tests didn't. The results. Listen to this. I'm going to quote Orange on this. The results of this man who loved AA's studies. The results was this. George Valent, quote, he was forced to admit that AA had not helped the alcoholics at all. Forced to admit it. He didn't want to admit it, but the tests were in his face. He had to admit it. The results were there. It was completely ineffective. That's what he found. And it had an appalling death rate. Did you hear that? An appalling death rate. That's what we had to admit about AA. A death rate that was higher than any other treatment program that Dr. Valent examined. And he had looked into other programs and saw their death rates. Okay. And the AA's, wow. Why is AA's death rate higher like this? So much higher than the others. Because they're doing something that's adding to the problem. They're doing something foolish, and I already told you part of it. That teaching, that brainwashing, it's not even just, they brainwash you with this, you're powerless, you're powerless, you're powerless. That's anti-Christian, and it's just anti-good sense. Okay? We're not powerless over these things. We may feel powerless. I felt powerless over crack cocaine, but your feelings aren't a fact. Like I said, as powerless as I felt when I would take a hit of that stuff, and the first time I would take first inhale, I felt powerless. Like, man, I can't stop. That's how I felt. But man, you put a gun in if somebody had said, I heard that trigger, that the hammer cock, and hey, you pick that pipe back up. And man, believe me, so all of a sudden, I would have got some control. I would have frozen. You can't do that with a real disease. Let me be having a heart, in the midst of having a heart attack, and somebody put a gun there and said, hey, if you don't stop having that heart attack, I'm going to blow your brains out. I can't control. That's a real physical illness. Or let's say I got cancer, and somebody says, hey, look, I'll give you $10 million, now we're going to go get an x-ray done right now. And if that cancer, if you can get it to go away for a while, then that's your money. If it's gone, if we go and I can't do anything about it. I got to lose that 10 million, but you let them offer that money and say, don't hit that pipe again, or don't take the second drink. I can wait. I'll wait 24 hours, 48 hours. That's not powerless. I can understand, like I said, feeling it like you are, but come on, folks, you're not powerless. This is setting you up just to give it all the way in. And that's what they want. Now, don't get me wrong. All the AA members aren't scheming and saying that's what we want. We want him to feel his power so he'll relapse and join. I'm saying it was set up that way. The man who founded it, he knew what he was doing. Man, if you read the history, he was a con man. He was not a good man. But they love him. Bill Wilson is his name. They think he was so wonderful. They need to look closely at, the man even said his motives was to make a name for himself. It said two motives in his history book that AA produces, by the way. So this isn't a book somebody wrote about him because I don't like AA. No, this is AA's own book called Pass It On. They produce it. They approve of the book. And then it told us that he had two motives: to help drunks and to make a name for himself. Well, that's not a good motive. When people have a problem like this, where they're dying, drugs and alcohol, you shouldn't be in this to be trying to make a name for yourself. This is the type of thing you get into for trying to, help. Now, if you want to be a movie star, then go ahead and make a name for yourself. Be famous. But this isn't a field that you come into to make a name for yourself. People's lives are at stake, and it says that in the book. So when that happens, when you got a man that's one of his motives, he's bound to do something twisted and deceptive and wrong and evil. Just because the main motive is not to help the drunks, it's to make a name for himself. So if I got to deceive people and a lot of them got to die for me to build my cult, so be it. And I'll just ignore that part about what it's doing to people, that it's hurting them or killing them, and just brag about, look how many people it's helping. Even though that's not happening, but I'll fool them and then more people will join. Hey, man, motive is important. And it's revealed, folks, in that book, Pass It On. Come on, let's find out what's going on and save some lives. And as far as Christianity, some souls, because we believe that this thing is keeping some people from coming to the Lord. And so, no, I'm not going to put aside my Christian agenda. I'm a preacher, and I care about souls. But even on the natural level, let's just talk, just in this world, in this life, it's killing and hurting people. We don't want to be a part of that, Christians, and even non-Christians. You don't want to be a part of that. Not if you've got a conscience, and you do have one. Unless you just let it get so, as the Bible calls, seared, hardened, that you don't care. I'm calling on people who care. Let's do something. Let's learn, first of all, what's going on, and then let's call me, and I can tell you how you can help. Stop this. This death rate, this destruction of lives through a program that's gaining a wonderful reputation while, doing so much harm. There's something you can do. First of all, if you're a church, get it out of your church. Find out what's going on and get that thing out of your church. You're going to answer to God one day for this. And you're not going to have an excuse, because you could have looked into it. Go to the Orange Papers. Read 12 Steps to Destruction by Martin and Deidre Bobkin. Just Google this stuff. It's free. You can read it online. You don't have to pay for it and buy the book. Call me. Email me. I'll help guide you into the knowledge. There's nadaytona.org. N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, Daytona, like Daytona, Florida.org. Man, some information about the safety issues and the murders and rapes and things that are taking place in that we don't hear about in these programs because of these programs and how they're set up. I'm learning about it. Some of this stuff is new to me, and I'm shocked. Monica Richardson has a film called The 13th Step on YouTube. Just type in her name, Monica Richardson, and the 13th step, and watch the video. But she's got another one coming out, and I'm waiting to see that. what it's going to reveal. But anyway, these programs are hurting people. They're breaking up homes in many instances, and literally killing people. Suicide is being caused by it, and murders. How many people have gotten drunk believing that nonsense, and next thing you know, you killed so and so last night. You got drunk. I'm going to quote Orange again on something here. He says, when God still hasn't taken away all of their defects of character, because that's what they teach, God will do all this, God will do. Look, like I said, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. I believe in God. I'm a preacher, okay? I believe. But still, we don't want to misrepresent God's will by teaching these people this. So let's hear what Orange says. When God still hasn't taken away all of their defects of character, moral shortcomings, or the drinking problem, when he hasn't taken that away, some people will just give up and resign themselves to drinking forever or relapsing forever. Telling newcomers to quit taking their doctor-prescribed medications or just rely on the 12 steps for healing is killing people. End of quote. He's right. You're not a doctor. Yeah. Man, this stuff's... And then, like I said, on the God thing, look, God has not said that, you just sit back and wait for the magic, the miracle. Just sit here and listen to the steps and, memorize a couple of steps and, and do a little talking about your problems and how you used to drink and it's just all gonna go away. No, you're gonna have to resist temptation, my friend. Now, I've heard testimonies, and I believe them. I don't doubt it. Where God actually, it was gone. I believe that he took it away, but it wasn't that you just take it away. No. It just happened that person's interest changed into, hey, look, I don't want that anymore. I want the Lord. And the Lord, helped them. I believe God helps people, to not want to do it anymore and to not do it anymore, to have the power to resist. But if you're not going to make any real, genuine effort to stay away from this stuff and not do it, then don't expect God to just, I hear people say that all the time. I try. Man, I hate it. I hear it though. I tried church. That didn't work. Where in the Bible did it say the church shall make you free? It doesn't say that. Jesus said the truth shall make you free. And you're learning some truth here. If you want to get free, you need to recognize what you're doing and the harm that, as far as drinking, what it's doing to other people or drugs, and get honest about it and how evil it is. And then you will hate it enough, and just say, this doesn't make sense. Let me do something else. So yeah, in that sense, the truth shall make you free. Get honest. I'm talking in the natural sense now. As a Christian, I believe, like Jesus said, you continue in his word, the truth shall make you free. Not just from drugs, alcohol, from sin. We're talking about sin in Christianity. It's not just drugs and alcohol. But on this level, come on. Let's be reasonable. Like the Bible says, come now, let's reason together. Let's look at this thing from a reasonable standpoint. And to think that, it's just some magic, just wait, no. See the reasons that you should hate what you're doing. Be honest about what people are showing you about what you're doing and how wicked it is as far as what it's doing to other people's lives. If not your own, how it's destroying you, but what it's doing to others. Care. Start caring about other people. Your children, your wife, your husband, your parents, your son, your daughter, somebody. Start caring. There's somebody to care about. No, don't blame it on God. I went to church, Yeah. Yeah, no, the churches aren't promising you that. And that's the other thing. Now, some of these people want to make it sound like the Christian church is as bad as AA. No, we don't tell people that junk. Just come on to church and God will just do it. You don't have to do anything. Just let the magic work. Just read your Bible. No, you need to read your Bible. Sure, I believe you're a Christian. You should be reading it. Should come to church. Man, there's some stuff you've got to obey. There's some honesty in this thing. You got to be honest about some stuff. Yeah. What's bad about AA? Number 7. It's even harmful to dropouts. Now, it's not just hurting the people who are still going to the meetings and supposedly working these steps, which nobody's proven these steps are doing anything. If you didn't work those steps, if you really are done, you're done. If I wiped them out of your mind and you remember what happened that last drunk, that'll be enough to keep you, I don't want that anymore. Let me just keep doing fishing or whatever I started doing after that. No. Going to church. Whatever. That'll be enough. Yeah. But it's harmful to the people who quit. After the court stopped making them go, if that bad thing didn't happen or that embarrassing thing, or they didn't just say, man, I'm sick of this, and quit while they were there and they stopped going. Well, they still remember a lot of that junk that they were heard for every meeting over and over. You're powerless over alcohol. You're powerless over drugs. You're powerless. You're powerless. You're powerless. Then they walk off, don't go to AA anymore, but they're still, I'm powerless. Hearing it over. So that all it did was make their problem worse by convincing them that just one drink, oh man, you just take one drink, and you've lost control. Don't even try not to take drink number 2 and number 3 and number 4. Don't even try it. You can't help it. You've set off your disease. And they walk out with that. Whether they go back to AA or not, they walk out with that nonsense they learned. That lie. That dangerous lie. So yeah, it's harming people who don't even go anymore. But we're brainwashed with that teaching, at least, while they were there. People say, man, you sound like you just hate AA. Yeah, I don't hate the people. I don't hate anybody. But the Bible says, hate that which is evil and cleave to that which is good. Hold on tight to what's good. And hate, the word it uses in the King James Bible is abhor. Abhor is even stronger than hate. So yes, I hate evil. I hate the program. There's nothing wrong with that. We should. Man, you don't even have to be a Christian. You should hate evil. If something's killing people and hurting people and deceiving people, just for the thing to grow. And like I said, it's not that all the people who are members of these programs are intentionally doing this. Some of them are very nice people who are really trying to help people. They mean well. Really. Some sweet people in there. I like some of them. I mean, there's some Christians I don't even like, and I'm a Christian. So, I love them, but I don't like them. I like some AA members better. But that's not my point here. It's liking and not liking. It's about something being evil, something being destructive, and proven to be so. Not my opinion. Look into this thing. Like I said, even with common sense and the research and the Bible, if you're a Christian, add all 3 of those up, you can see that this thing is not what it's been purported to be all these years. A life-saving support group, fellowship, whatever you want to call it, the 12 steps and all. It's not what we have been told, folks. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is urgent. We can do something about this. Let's start telling other people. Let's look into it. And then, look into it. Please, don't just take my word for it. The Bible talks about these people called the Bereans who were noble Because when the preacher was telling them something, they didn't just, I don't believe that. That's just your opinion. They looked into it to see if they thought, well, let's go check that out. Let's see if he's telling us the truth. I'm asking you to go check it out. So that we can all get together, or at least those of us who've got that much sense and caring in us, can do something about this. And the courts forcing people into this cult. Breaking the First Amendment. Come on. What's happening to freedom of religion? And to make it worse, forcing them into one that's dangerous. It's unlawful and it's immoral. It's unethical. That's the word, that you understand better. It's not right. It's not right. I only got a couple of minutes here in this program. On page 58, the big book says that AA requires, now this is a quote, this is what it teaches that that is required. Grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. That's in their Bible. A lot of them will admit, yeah, that's my Bible. There ain't no Bible, not with all those lies in it that's been proven to be lies. Now, you may not like the Christian Bible, but I guarantee you there's no scientific research that's proven anything in that book wrong. They used to think they had, and then they always found out they were wrong. But let's leave that alone for right now. But that stuff has been proven wrong. Grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. So that's what they're encouraging. And it sounds good, but the program itself isn't honest, let alone rigorously honest. It's not honest really almost at all. I mean, yeah, it's going to be some truth in it. Nobody's going to, buy just all lie, when it's that much teaching in it. It's got enough. Hey, you don't catch a worm, a fish with just a hook. You got to put some good food on it called a worm. Yeah, but there's a hook in it. And I'm telling you, there's a hook in Alcoholics Anonymous. And everybody wants to look at the worm. Well, look, what's good about AA? And Orange even describes that on his website. What's good? He actually lists. But you can't just look at that and ignore this stuff. Just because, at least they're around some people who want to quit. And some people who don't want to quit and keep talking. So come on, let's look at all of it. Not just what we want to see. And let's get this thing fixed or get rid of it. Get it fixed. I'm not saying, but if you don't want to get it fixed, get rid of this thing. And courts quit forcing people into this thing. You're responsible for some of this stuff. Churches too. The churches that are involved. So no, there's no rigorous honesty with this thing. The program is not an honest program. I'm sorry. And they say that over and over. This is an honest program. It's not honest. There's some people in there being honest about some things and trying to do right. I'm saying that. I don't want you to think it's just a bunch of wicked people in these programs. No, there are some though. And they know what they're doing is evil. And we're going to talk more about that, and they need to, we need to be aware of those people and what they're doing. And they usually kind of control this thing in a lot of ways. They're really the voices. But I'm running out of time, folks. So we'll just have to pick up on the next program where we left off. And I'm glad you joined me to hear about AA.